Previously on In Times Like These.
I already told you and my mom that the fight with the other girl happened quickly. Lyric was trying to break it up. Plus, I wasn't communicating with Lyric, which is why he came by the house the other day. All he wanted to do was make sure that I was okay. I ain't gonna explain any more of it. What about you, Pacho? How did your media company announce that Finnegan was no longer living when he's been alive this whole time? I won't be driven out of town when I am a victim. Stop right there. Don't you dare, Finnegan, don't you dare compare yourself to what my daughters have been through. You are not a victim like Nichelle, and you certainly are not a victim like Ulissa. Your son took your weapon and used it to take my baby from me. And he's paying the price for it, Finnegan, just like you'll pay the price. I'm sorry, Heidi, but are you threatening me? Because if that's the case, then you can leave. As for anyone else who enjoyed the service in this tavern, then you are more than welcome to come back. Thank you all for coming. Okay, Bernice, I'm all ears. What's been bothering you all day? Prepare yourself, cause I'm gonna talk to you about Kimmy. What's going on with my baby? I think Lyric is the one who beat her up on the 4th Jackie. How come you're both looking at me like I'm public enemy number 1? Probably because you are Bacho. Please tell me that this isn't about Finnegan Burke. This is exactly what this is about. Your news station was the first to break the news that Finnegan was no longer living, except the other night proved that you allowed false news to be reported. How did you not confirm whether his demise was true or not? Overall, Vanessa, I'm glad that I didn't go to Alan's birthday party. From what it sounds like, it ended in disaster. And of course, Finnegan Burke creates disaster wherever he goes. I couldn't believe it when I first heard he was no longer living. Just imagine my surprise when I found out that he was still alive. Do you think Vanessa will be okay, Jeremiah? She'll be alright, Shirley. Time in the park with Max will do her good. What about JJ? He claims that he's okay, but his head must be all over the place knowing that Finnegan Burke is still alive. We've got to pray for our son and our daughter. On top of that, we need to pray for everyone affected because only the Lord will get us through this complicated time. Hello, Jeremiah and Shelley. Congratulations on the new baby. You think Lyric beat up Kimmy that night? Where's this even coming from, Bernice? The other night, Kimmy was getting defensive after I heard her arguing with Lyric over the phone. Couples argue all the time, though. That don't mean they're beating each other up. Don't you remember how bad Kimmy looked when she got back home on the 4th Jackie? I ain't never gonna forget that night. But I can't say I'm surprised. My baby wants to be a nurse someday. She ain't some fighter. And someone stronger than her overpowered her. When I saw her that night, it looked like she had been beat up by a man. Ma, you already heard it all at the tavern the other night. Announcing that he wasn't living already brought up painful memories, Pacho. Clearly, you didn't have a death certificate in your hands, which means you were negligent and ran the story without being 100% certain whether it was true or not. There was no reason for me to believe that Terry would lie to me like that. Keeve Burke's existence should have been enough reason for you. That lady carried that demon in her womb for 9 months and gave birth to him. But you thought it was a good idea to trust anything she tells you? Hearing that Finnegan Burke is still alive was a shock. Do you wish it wasn't true? Not that I wish for him or anyone else to lose their life, but if he wasn't living, then life would be easier, Max. My head's been spinning ever since I heard the news. You and me both. When we thought he wasn't living, we thought Keeve succeeded in ending his own father's life. In reality, Finnegan survived the attack while Ulissa didn't. Since Keeve used Finnegan's weapon to attempt to take us out, do you think your mom will make sure Finnegan ends up in prison? What are you doing here? Is that how you treat an old friend, Jeremiah? We are not old friends and you know it. Well, neither of you showed up to my tavern, So I guess you've got a point. Stop playing games with us, Finnegan. What are you doing in our house? Before I ended up in a coma, things were tense between us. Tense? That's not how I describe it. The main thing I want is to make amends. Since your family is a family of faith, I believe that we can find peace. That won't be happening. Kimmy told us that she got into a fight with another girl. My baby ain't a liar. Your daughter ain't perfect either. But why, Bernice? If Lyric is beating on Kimmy like you think, then why would she keep something like that to herself, knowing that I'd do whatever it takes to protect her? Cause Lyric's got a hold on her, Jackie. You don't know that for a fact, though. That's right. I might be wrong, but you need to consider that I might be right. Fine, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have just taken Thierry's word for it. I'm sorry that I didn't do my due diligence. What do you want me to do now? I mean, you allowed fake news to go out about Finnegan Burke. Maybe you should share actual facts. What are you trying to tell me, Michelle? What I'm saying is that you should use that media company of yours to remind the world what sort of scum is still walking on this earth. I can't do that. Why not, Bacho? I can only imagine that there will be some public embarrassment if they realize that you didn't ensure that Finnegan was no longer living. Clearly you two want something for your silence. What is it? The thing is that I'll have to be out in the world again, but I promise to make sure that you and Global News Press don't face public embarrassment, as long as you send me $7 million. Because GNP isn't built on attacking specific individuals, no matter how terrible they are. All people will have to do is accept that Finnegan didn't tell the world that he's been alive for months. That should be proof enough that he's an awful person. Fine, then I hope you can live with the fact that you allowed this family to be blindsided by Finnegan's rise from the grave because you failed to take the proper steps. I'm not really sure what my mom plans to do about this whole situation, Vanessa. Would you be against it if your mother ends up pressing charges against Finnegan? Trust me, I'm all for it. All Finnegan had to do was take extra precautions with his son living in his house. But he failed to do so, and we all ended up paying the price. Now I'm wondering how much more we'll have to pay. What do you mean? Think about it, Max. Finnegan has been in Valley Park for months, knowing that we all thought he was no longer here. All of a sudden, he wants to open up his tavern and announce that he's still breathing. I'm worried about what else that man might be scheming. Why can't you find it in your heart to forgive me? Doesn't Jesus command that in the Bible you read? We've already forgiven you, Finnegan, but you can't seem to let bygones be bygones. No, Finnegan, you're not asking for forgiveness. What you're asking for is for us to forget about everything you've done. Shelley's right. There's no way we're just gonna forget how you handled things when your son was exposed for stalking our daughter. Forgiving you doesn't mean that we'll ever trust you. I'm sorry, but have you forgotten that I ended up in a coma because of Keith? No, we haven't forgotten, but don't try and pretend like you took the proper precautions. If you did, then you wouldn't have ended up in a coma to begin with. Most of all, our children wouldn't have been traumatized and Ulissa Torres would still be alive. I refuse to be blamed for the actions of my son. When I leave this door, I hope you both realize how big of a mistake it was not to accept my peace offering. I know my baby Bernice. As a mother, I'd know if someone was hurting Kimmy. Motherhood don't make us sidekick Jackie. Would it hurt to be 100% sure to see whether I'm right or not? Cause I know you don't want nothing worse to happen to your daughter. Thanks for coming, Viv. How you holding up? Well, Michelle and my mother are pretty upset with me for allowing false news to be reported. I can't even begin to imagine how they'd react if they find out that I knew Finnegan was alive for months. I'm really sorry, Bacho. I should have used common sense and not convinced you to falsely announce Finnegan's demise just to hurt Harley. Don't worry about that. All we need to do is make sure that nobody else, including my family, doesn't find out that we knew Finnegan was alive this whole time. Like you said, he owns a tavern now. Maybe his plan was just to get a lot of attention to his new business so that he could enter back into society in a big way. As if he'd think he'd be able to succeed after all the terror his only son created. And I think that's what he'll try and remind people. It was Keith who did all of those awful things, not Finnegan. Since Keith tried to take his own father's life, that might be Finnegan's main argument. How did the meeting with the Dorvals go? They refuse to let the past go, Harley. But that's their loss. What about you? Is Alan still crying over the fact that you kept the fact that I'm still alive a secret? He hasn't answered my texts or calls, so I'm certain that he's still upset. Heidi, what are you doing here? And why do you have my former employee with you? The officer here will do the honors. Finnegan Burke, I am arresting you for culpable negligence in the passing of Ulissa Torres and the attempts which Keith Burke made to take the lives of others.